This autumn, in October, we will start with the implementation of these new, very important pieces of securities market legislation. First and utmost goal is to have legal framework which is comparable with other markets in Europe. So we need new material in the market, new financial instruments, and our strategic goal is to increase the supply side, to have new IPOs, new companies at the market. One of the reasons why we are here as a member of the Federation of Eurasian Stock Exchanges is to be more familiar and to learn what is going on a Chinese capital market and to see whether we can attract some of the asset managers from here to invest in the financial instruments traded at our market.
北马其顿资本市场将会迎来20年以来的最大变革。就在今年10月1号，金融工具法和招股说明书与透明度法将会正式生效，将会引入衍生工具监管，并且简化中小企业的上市流程。那么今天我对话马其顿证券交易所 CEO Ivan Shteriev。Mr. Shteriev, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, it is my pleasure.
So first of all, I would like to talk about the reforms that will take effect on October the 1st. So we know that the reform will implement the Financial Instruments Act and the Prosperous and Transparency Act. So how will this reform change your market, and why do you want to have this reform?
Yeah, as you pointed out, this autumn in October, we will start with the implementation of these new, very important pieces of securities market legislation. Republic of North Macedonia is not a full EU member, but for us, it's very important to harmonize our legislation fully with European regulation in order to project to the foreign, especially portfolio investors, that we have legislation and legal framework that is providing secure investing in our financial instruments. So this is the main reason, and for us this is a big achievement and big challenge.
How do you think this reform will change your market? Will it bring more development?
As I said, first and utmost goal is to have legal framework which is comparable with other markets in Europe. So in the perspective of foreign investors, our country risk and legal risk in investing in our markets to be as minimal as possible. But from that the regulation, there will be some other possibilities. For example, we can start so-called growth market, which means that some of the smaller companies could also list their shares with simplified procedure within the regulator and the stock market.
And after the October 1st reform implemented, so what will be the next?
Actually, I would say that the immediate time after the reform will be devoted to adjust our operation to this very complex and detailed reform. So after that, we will work on implementation of that reform. This will be enough for time being.
Is there any other possibilities that to connect the regional market, like building the platform of linkage, that you are in mind, or you are already taking actions?
Yes, the regional cooperation between capital markets in a wider region is very important. We are speaking about a region which is connected, comprised from relatively small economies, and stock market business, capital market is size matters when you're speaking about capital markets. Macedonian Stock Exchange is a big advocate of this regional cooperation. So for example, we are now part of the group of 8 exchanges. It is in the group, it is exchanges from Poland, Romania, Hungary, Slovenia, Slovakia, Croatia and Bulgaria. We are the only stock exchange which is not from EU member country, so we are working on finding ways how to cooperate. Probably we will start with launching one big regional ETF who will be listed at all these 8 exchanges.
Have you ever considered that to build a connectivity between Chinese capital market?
Of course, one of the reasons why we are here as a member of the Federation of Eurasian Stock Exchanges is to be more familiar and to learn what is going on a Chinese capital market and to see whether we can attract some of the asset managers from here to invest in the financial instruments traded at our market.
Have you ever been in China before?
No, actually, it is my first time. I'm very glad to be here and to learn what is going on both at the capital market and wider in China.
What is your impression of China?
I have been taught, for example, about Shanghai, that is very interesting and beautiful city, and after a few days I can definitely confirm that I'm very impressed about that.
So, have you ever considered that the possibilities of building cooperation or connectivity with Chinese counterparts? So, which step would you like to start first?
I think that on the level of the Federation of Euro-Asian Stock Exchanges, which is organizer or co-organizer of this day event, they can speak with their Chinese counterparts, for example, to create some kind of joint event in the future in which companies from our region can present themselves to the Chinese investment funds and investment banks to see whether something more tangible can be built on afterwards.
We discussed the reform that will take place on October the 1st, and I would like to know that after this reform is complete, so what role do you hope that the capital market will play in the whole picture of your country's economy?
Yeah, our main goal is to enhance the supply side of the market. Our market is old, 30 years. Macedonian Stock Exchange was established back in the 90s. We have created quite solid technical infrastructure about the market. Demand side is growing. As I said, we have pension funds, we have investment funds, but we are still trading mainly with shares from companies that are privatized 30 years ago. So we need new material in the market, new financial instruments, and our strategic goal is to increase the supply side, to have new IPOs, new companies at the market.
We know that last year Macedonia's economy grew by 3.5%. So what is your forecast of the economy this year?
I can share with you the forecast of some either domestic or international research institutes. The forecast is that this GDP growth rate will continue, and the forecast is that GDP will grow around 3% this year as well, which is compared with other European economies quite decent growth rate. It is mainly driven by investment in infrastructure, partially the demand from the households. So we will see whether this will impact the dynamics and turnover of the stock exchange.
What is your major goal, the first priority in 2026?
To have first IPO of some successful family company at our market as soon as possible.
Will you visit China again?
Yes.